I'm Katie Bennett-Stenton, a senior B2B marketer with 20 years' experience across the UK, United States and Asia Pacific. Last year I was fortunate to spend 3 months with Deloitte in Chicago. During that time I was delighted to have the opportunity to spend time with a number of global experts. Throughout that period, I interviewed a range of leaders and shared their thought-provoking, relevant and influential takeaways weekly. Now that I'm back in Melbourne, the Katie Talks conversation with influencers continues. Today, I'm delighted to be speaking with Vera Ou-Young, who is a Deloitte partner and national leader of the Deloitte Chinese Services Group. Vera is an internationally recognised leader in Asian business with a proven commercial track record as the architect of East-West success. Vera speaks 7 languages and is a leader who relishes the opportunity to create legacy and mentor the next generation. Vera, welcome.
Thanks, Kate.
I'm really interested to talk to Vera today. We've had a lot of really interesting conversations around the way that she approaches leadership and working with teams. So I think this is going to be a really interesting conversation. Vera, we read a lot in the media about modelling strong behaviour as a leader and managing our own mindset as well as our teams. Talk to me about what you do on this front.
Well, Katie, I'm a purposeful, people and value-based leader. I aim to be at least. So in order to have the leadership capability and the record to achieve results, I need to be mindful of my resilience in large and complex business. I need to take time to pause, reflect, and recharge. What this really means practically. So every fortnightly, I set time aside and celebrate my success. For example, what I do is I'll take the moments to thank someone, may they be peers or my team members, whom has been part of my success recently. Have moments when I can truly acknowledge success for my team and me.
I really like that notion. I think in a really fast business-paced environment, we can tend to be just very much moving on to the next thing rather than stopping and taking some time to celebrate. How does that change your mindset?
Well, it really made me a much happier person that I'm actually purposeful in how I lead my people. More importantly, it actually recharged me. It gave me the sense of purpose and it gave me a sense of energy to really go forward. And I think that is truly something that we need to see more broadly in our leadership.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think in an environment where senior leaders are spending quite a lot of time on planes and in different time zones and travelling, and I know that you do that, the ability to stay fresh and energised and full of energy, I think is a real balance to be struck. And I'm often a little bit in awe of people who have a great ability to do that.
Yes, Katie, it is something that I'm pretty guarded about it, that I do need to look after myself in order to look after my people and my business. Absolutely right.
Yeah. Vera, you talk extensively about the importance of building enduring relationships and that this is really pivotal to the way that you work. Why is it so important?
Well, relationships are everything. I mean, spend time developing and maintaining a strong relationship with people, may they be clients, stakeholders, and team members, that will truly affect our future success. So I look at relationship building is everything. It's all about us. And it's really how we actually go about our day-to-day when we come to work.
Are there particular things that you do to prioritise relationship building?
Well, in terms of relationship building, is more about what is the best interest of the person that you're interacting with. So I think often than not in my interactions with my staff, my team members or my peers, and for clients for the matter, right, is more about what have I got to offer that actually going to give them something of value that they interact with at every moment of that. So it's about being purposeful in each of those interactions as how I can help how I can help or how can I contribute to their success. I think that is really forefront of my thinking when I look at individuals in my interactions. I think that is really important for us to be genuine in how we interact with each other.
So putting somebody else's priorities and what they're trying to achieve front of mind rather than being, I guess, more self-centered or self-serving.
Yes, Katie, it's all about being genuine. It's all about being truthful in how we respect and treat each other. And I think these days there's a lot of interactions that can be very much on the surface and very transactional. I think for us to be truly successful in what we do, may it be business, personal life, or in community, it's all about being true to ourselves. And I think feeling comfortable about what is best for the person that we are dealing with or interacting with. I think if we have other people at the forefront of our thinking, we tend to be a much happier person.
Yeah, I agree with that, Vera. In my recent podcast with Catherine Mountford, you commented that our discussion really resonated with you, particularly around the element of authenticity. Can you talk to me about your ethos around authenticity, please?
Sure, Katie. So to me, authenticity is about to always bring your authentic self, right? Being present and be unique. And above all, do not be afraid to be different. Often than not, I find that even in my professional life, I often get challenged by things that I sort of box myself in or have perceptions about myself. So what I've learned over the years, or even listening to the talk recently, is about, really bring my best self daily, moments by moments. It feels right. It's almost like skin in the game. Got to feel comfortable, because I think what really oozes out is that it's the real self that really bring to bear in terms of how we bring ourselves, our total self to work, and feel comfortable about it. I think being comfortable is important.
Yeah.
We can't be who we are not to be.
And you talked about the fact that you have over the years become more comfortable with being authentic and bringing your full self to work. Can you talk to me a little bit about how that's evolved or things that you've done to continue that journey of feeling more comfortable on that front?
Sure, Katie. I think one of the things that I've learned over the years is that instead of having a perceptions or frame of mind or mindset that I think this is the right way to do, I've learned that what might be more effective is allow oneself to be challenged by others with the advancement that, knowing that the other person is actually looking for the best interest of me. So it's giving that trust to someone on the opposite end, and in return, you actually reap the benefits yourself. So to me, over the years, as I learn to trust others, and I find that I get more authentic in the way I deal with others, and it just have the multiple effects. So the more we do that, then we're going to build a much stronger community and people around us who are truly people that we can trust and work and be a happy place.
Yeah. Reminds me of a boss that I had many, many years ago who told me that I used to get a bit defensive when we'd have conversations, and he would challenge some of my thinking. And at the time, I found that quite confronting. But I think it's something that I've learned from tremendously in terms of, rather than sort of putting up walls and immediately getting frustrated or irritated that that whatever it is that I'm presenting is absolutely the way to do something, just sort of sitting back and listening to their perspectives and then sort of trying to collaborate or think about how whatever it is that we're talking about can be made better.
That's right. I think the analogy that you've just shared is really a very personal journey for me as well. That I think collaborations is really key to it all in terms of authenticity, because when we collaborate, we're more likely to succeed together rather than on our own journey. And I think, and also you learn more about yourself at the end of the day, right? This is really that the more you learn about oneself, like ourselves, the more we bring the best and knowing, which are the areas that actually tick the boxes or which are the areas that, just want to avoid it. You can actually make that right judgment call at that critical moment.
Absolutely, and just to the point around around collaborating, what my favourite way of working is to bring together a group of people from the team who have different backgrounds, different areas of expertise, to write up on a board. This is the big level strategy that we are solving. Give me your craziest ideas, and the result is always so much richer than if I'd sat at my desk on my own.
Yeah, right, Katie. And this is often the way I've learned through my career that it's almost like my way is the highway, or whichever you call that. It's almost like when we collaborate, we're more likely to come out with a very different sets of solutions or ideas or innovations that otherwise you wouldn't have if you're on your own. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that not being in an echo chamber where everybody else you're collaborating with has the same background, and you're all best friends, and you all group think, you all tend to pat each other on the back and have the same ideas, but challenging each other, definitely the way to go. Vera, talk to me about the biggest turning point in your career.
How many turning points are there, Katie? Look, in terms of the biggest turning point, I think what really comes to mind or resonate with me is that a few years ago, it's most like I need to stop what I was doing. I need to start thinking differently. And also I need to continue doing what I'm passionate about.
Okay.
So if I may use the word, the turning point in my career is about having that moments where I stop, I think about what to start, I think about what I need to continue. What I really means is that I've realized that in the turning point of my career, that moments is that I need to move quickly to determine whether things are really in the way, in a sustainable way, in terms of how it's going to transform the Vera to the next level that she's aiming to be. So a very simple example is that if you wake up in the morning and not feeling the energy, we all been there.
Yes.
So then it's time to really reflect and really search for the why and the why not. So often than not, there are probably at least two key career moments for me where I actually absolutely woke up in the morning to say, do I want to do this? And I think it took me a while to realize that instead of saying, do I want to do this? I went deeper into the search of oneself, which is myself, about why don't I do this or why not? So I think once I get to that point, and suddenly it opens up a different horizon in terms of what are the possibilities ahead of me.
Okay. So asking yourself being introspective, asking yourself some fairly deep questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. Vera, are there any significant challenges that you've navigated in your career that you've drawn special strength or insight from that you'd like to share?
Well, there's so many of them, Katie. Where do I start? Look, I think the one thing that really came to my mind is about back yourself, okay? Back yourself and play to your strength, okay? So, culturally, from ethnicity point of view, performance and perfectionism is given.
Okay.
It's expected of us, right? I mean, we grew up from a very young age to say that 99.9 is not good enough. You need to get 100 points. Okay. And that's kind of give you a bit of context of, how I was wired as I grew up as a young child. But what that really means is that when I bring to work, I have the assumptions that I'm here to perform, I'm here to do exactly what is needed of me and move on, and then keep going on, and then keep going on. But what I haven't realized is until much later is that while you might be performing and be a great achiever, but if you are not good in really backing yourself in the right moments, for instance, to go for promotion, and often than not, especially in my younger days, and I, felt like, I should be recognized for that.
Sure.
But as years gone by, I realized that is not good enough.
Okay.
So I need to take control of myself or my destiny or my career path to a point where I need to start to back myself, to truly believe in what I really bring to the equations of in terms of business context or career context, and then play to my strength and go for that promotions that I so desire and be comfortable with that, because it's actually countercultural. You know, from an Asian and Eastern culture point of view, to sort of beat our chest up a little bit.
Yes.
You know, putting aside humbleness or humility and all that. But I think I've learned over the years that, you know, at the right juncture, at the right moment where the credit is due, don't be shy to claim it. Go for it. So this is what I mean by back myself up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. And for listeners who perhaps come from a similar cultural background to you, where that isn't something that is instilled early on, do you have any tips or insights for them as to specifically how you've overcome that?
Well, okay, if I can play back the clock, like one of the things that I think will be which is something that I'm doing right now to all my younger staff, especially those that I've sort of handpicked as future talents, is that it's really getting a great sponsor and mentor alongside you, right? It's having the trust that someone is looking out for you. All right, it's not about like having a godfather or godmother around it, but it's just having someone who truly believes in you early in a piece of your career, and then walk alongside you and be prepared to challenge you to take you to the next level. So I think if I think about that, this is something that I'm passionate about right now in my day-to-day work, that I constantly come across younger staff who are fantastic in what they're doing, but they were exactly like me at least 20 years ago. So I had the privilege to pick them up these days and just give them a bit of a fun and give them a bit of a courage. And, you know, amazingly, they surprise me. Time after time, I see them blossoms, right, in different situations, in a client presentation, in something. And no, it does make me feel really, really proud. And that proud moments are probably one of those moments that I can pat myself on the shoulder to say, you know what, well done. You know, well done, you've done it, and, you know, so-and-so has become a star. I think that really makes me proud.
Vera, what does career nirvana look like for you?
Oh, well, if I think about a happy place, right?
Yes.
If that is what it means, it's about, you know, I'm happy, I'm in a zone of happiness when I feel like I'm focused, I work hard, and I know that I'm resilient, I'm passionate, and I'm also have the commitment in whatever I do. So to me, if I have got all that elements in how I bring to work every day, that is a happy place. And I would say that, you know, that really gives me the buzz, you know, the energy when I come to Deloitte every day. And I truly work among the amazing people who are so diverse in their skills and also their background, and I'm constantly learning from them every day.
So that learning piece as well, being around those clever people and being able to be challenged and add to your skills and your knowledge.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. Vera, what's the best piece of business advice that you've ever been given?
Well, I think really, if I reflect back around some of the really great conversations and challenging conversations about myself and also my career, in a business context, I think it's really important to have positive energy.
Yes.
And also collaborative leadership.
Okay.
What I really mean also is that we need to strike a good balance between what needs to be preserved and enhanced in the ground operations when you're running a business. However, we also need to have courage to drive the change that is needed to keep us relevant and be competitive.
Are any of those, would you pick any of those as more important than others, or is it more about a combination?
I think it's more about combinations and having the right balance. Is also being perspective about the situations that we are in, and also the stages of where everyone is set in their journey. It's not about me leading the business at the front. It's about bringing everybody on the same journey and on the same bus.
Vera, we talked a little bit before about some of the nuances from the cultural background that you have and the way that you were raised. getting into that a little bit more, what advice would you give your 10-year-old self?
Well, I would say have courage, respect, and care for people with a clear sense of purpose. Be adaptable, resilient, and engaging people around you to help you to succeed.
Okay. And are they all things that you've learned along the way?
Absolutely. I'm still learning it. I'm sure I'm still learning it. Yeah.
Throwing some good humility in there, which you mentioned as well earlier. Vera, how did you get to where you are now?
Well, I think at the heart of my strategic thinking and decision making is about people and clients, right? So where I got to right now in leadership is I think about times where what makes me most proud and stand out is that it is my ability to lead and create an inclusive and supportive environment in which people achieve success in the form that matter most to them. And that really make a difference in the life of the people around me, my family, and also in my community.
Yes.
That makes me proud.
And have there been particular people along the way who have fundamentally helped you to shape your leadership style?
My dad.
Okay.
Dad is someone whom always expect more than 100% of me.
Sounds like my dad.
That's like your dad too,
Yeah.
is that right? Okay, I'm sure. But what I'm trying to say is that I think from the point of love, from a point of compassion and also caring for others, which is as my dad would for me,
Yes.
I bring that ethos into my work because if I can bring the love, not in a cheesy way, in a true business environment,
Yeah.
to care and to want the best for each other, for the staff or for the client, finding the right solutions for them and really matters for them. I think that is a real proud moment when you know that you truly have made an impact in someone's life.
Yeah.
I think in a business context, I think that is probably the secret of what I enjoy doing, what I'm doing.
That's quite a consistent theme you've talked about in terms of, well, the love in not a cheesy way, but caring about what is important to other people rather than the agenda that you have to push.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, my dad was a high school teacher, and if I'd come home with A's, I would get a stern, well, that's great, Kathleen, but why? What do you think you missed out on for an A+?
I know. Now, I get it all the time, right?
And I don't have the same cultural background as you. Vera, one last question for today. Any career advice for listeners?
Okay. Successful leaders tend to focus on three priorities area. People, strategy, and values. So having an inspirational vision and goal and bring the best self to work, okay, in terms of, what really truly matters in one's career. But having said that, don't forget to have fun along the way.
That's really important.
Because fun comes from succeeding, from winning. So let's have fun.
I like it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And pause once a fortnight to reflect on what we're most proud of. Vera, I've really enjoyed our conversation. You've given us some really good insights. Thank you very much for sharing some of your expertise.
Thanks, Katie.
Thanks for listening to the Katie Talks podcast with me, Katie Bennett-Stenton. If you enjoyed this episode, please review me on iTunes to help others find this great content. I have some excellent thought leaders coming up in the series. Subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And I love feedback from listeners. You can find me at Katie B Marketing on Twitter or Katie Bennett-Stenton on LinkedIn.